Mwana uhakika sasa, kukulea stakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja. Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Welcome back to the Farm Kenya show. In the first half, we've talked about capsicum farming, especially colored capsicum, which is very critical. And now we are outside. When people ask you where you are, say you are outside the greenhouse. And here we have a kitchen garden. And we still have Sam, Kulima Mwenyewe, consultant pia. Sam, so kitchen gardens, you know, we assume is that a small space at the back of your kitchen that you throw your tomatoes that you're not using, and they start sprouting and just being tomato, plants. But talk to me about, what is a kitchen garden?
I think a kitchen garden, Mr. Noah, as the name suggests, is somewhere, of course, these are things that are used in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So a kitchen garden to me is somewhere I can go. I get all things that I need for my kitchen when I'm cooking. I get vegetables, I get tomatoes, I get onions, everything. Mm-hmm. So that's a simple definition of a kitchen garden.
All right. Yeah. So essentially it supplies your kitchen.
Yeah, it supplies your kitchen.
Everything you need.
Yes.
Ni mahindi tu ya kwenda kusiaga unga.
But I mean, you can still plant mahindi here.
No,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, you can plant everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So in terms of a proper kitchen garden, because I see here, this one we have a mixture of everything. We have onions, we have cabbages, everything as you've rightly put it. Is there a formula to doing kitchen garden well? Can it be done wrong, or as long as you spray your seeds, you're good to go?
Yeah, of course there are specific ways that you're supposed to organize your kitchen garden. Like we've said, this is somewhere you're able to get everything that it's a surprise for your kitchen. So basically, where people usually does wrong when you talk about a kitchen garden is this point whereby you find people using, like for example, if you check on our kitchen garden here, this is purely organic. No synthetic chemicals, no fertilizers, no nothing. So there are things that they are growing naturally, and of course they become even healthier to when now you feed them. So basically, in a kitchen garden, of course, from what you've said, is they need to have a specific manner in which you've structured them. Like you need to have places you have the vegetables like the spinach, the sukuma wiki, the onion, and one thing, and very important thing that you can also take from this kitchen garden is, like for example, in our kitchen garden here, you see we have spinach, and inside actually in every corner you see onions on those levels. These onions also act as repellent to pests. So you see now that also gives you on how you're supposed to put your plants on a kitchen garden.
Oh, really? That's incredible. So using biological means to repel pests.
Yeah.
Do you think lack of information or failure to know that leads to a lot of people with kitchen gardens that are not doing very well? And what other information do we need to have other than using biological means to resist pests, which is a huge problem when it comes to farming generally? What other precautions should people take when they're putting up a kitchen garden?
I think the precaution here is, first of all, to understand why you're putting up a kitchen garden.
Okay.
The first thing, from what I usually understand as a farmer, and some of course also depend on this kitchen garden, is that when you're putting up a kitchen garden, the most important thing is that you're also trying to save a coin. Now, of course, you see now, if you check on the things that are usually used in the kitchen every day, of course, we have onions, we have sukuma wiki and all that. It's only that people don't do the calculations like oftenly, but you'll be able to realize that there is so many money that goes to outside there that maybe you're supposed to save for something else.
Okay.
And provided now, as the name suggests, the kitchen garden, when you talk about a kitchen garden, you just need a small space for you to establish a one.
Okay.
So basically, the most important thing when we talk about a kitchen garden is you're able to save a coin. Of course, like from our kitchen garden here, we don't go buying these vegetables outside there, so we are producing them. Number two is that, like I've mentioned, these particular vegetables, they are healthy, they are free from chemicals, because of course what we usually do here is just the manure, and then we water it, so they grow under that circumstance. And of course we've talked about this repellent, like here we have onions, we have dania, and those are some of the things that you use for biological control of pests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very critical. And I mean, if you do kitchen garden properly, you can even supply the market out there, because I've seen some of the interventions in different spaces, like the Ma community, the women are encouraged to have kitchen gardens, and from there you can sell your products. So in terms of the potential for kitchen garden, other than just supplying your very own kitchen, can somebody, you know, employ agribusiness mindset to eat, not only to save money for themselves, but also make money from the small space that they have?
Yes, we can, because of course what you usually do is that you also need to establish on how you are supposed to produce those particular vegetables. And number two, when you talk about the market, is that of course nowadays people are preferring natural grown food. Yes, so basically where someone knows that this particular spinach are produced healthy, they are free from chemicals, they are free from any synthetic elements in them. So of course you'll have more people now getting your product. So even in terms of the marketing and of course the selling, the agribusiness way, it is possible for a kitchen garden. Yeah, possible for a kitchen garden.
In fact, it can be a selling point, saying mine is organically
very
produced.
organic. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's good. In terms of using the manure, if you're setting up a kitchen garden, is there a system that you can create around your homestead mostly to be able to make sure that you're supplying the nutrients, the natural nutrients from the compost and whatnot? Is there a way to do it so that your kitchen garden is well, you know, supplied in nutrients?
Yes. Of course, what you do when you talk about a kitchen garden,
yes,
we have different designs that can suit your compound. And one of these, like for us here, you see we have just done it on portions, like put this portion under water. But of course that one is because we have quite a big space. But of course there are other ways, like we have the vertical gardening, we have the hydroponics, we have the troughs. Okay, these are some of the things that usually when we want now to set up the kitchen garden. Okay. And another thing when you talk about a kitchen garden, and the most important thing, is that it's also an aesthetic way of beautifying your homestead. So now when you're using other means like the one that I've mentioned, the vertical garden, what the vertical garden does, you put it in a specific, actually we call it an edible landscaping.
Okay.
So you landscape your compound in an edible manner. So you can landscape it under spinach. Like for a vertical garden, we have layers for spinach, we have layers for sukuma wiki. You see, it's something that is beautiful and suits your compound.
That's incredible. So different formats.
Yeah.
It depends on the space that you have.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you have limited space, you can always opt to go higher. You know, apply hydroponics and whatnot. Very, very interesting. And this even marries to the larger conversation around food security in this country.
Sure.
Because as a nation, we are not food secure. We are net importers of food. And that is a very tricky place to be. I don't know, from your experience, how did we land here? And do you think maybe starting from the basic level of having a kitchen garden, that could be a huge milestone in regards to solving this challenge of food security in the country?
Yeah, kitchen garden is one of the best way actually to fight food security. Like you've mentioned, it's true that in our country we are not food secure because of course we are relying on so much importation of agricultural products. You see now, when you have a kitchen garden, the first thing and the most important thing to note is that it is so sensitive to space. Actually, your small space, there is something that can suit for that space. You have a big space, there is something that can also suit for that. So actually, if more people adopt these ways of kitchen gardening, you see now we can be able now to reduce the importation. Of course, we can also be able to produce our own food from the comfort of the comfort of our backyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. And for younger folks who want to come into agribusiness, because I mean, first half we talked about colored capsicums, and we just looked at the initial investment for even putting a greenhouse. It's quite costly. Majority of young Kenyans, I know there are those who are able to raise this amount of money, but you sort of have to find a step into something before going big on it. And I'm thinking in the agricultural world, I mean, the good books talks about if you are entrusted and you're faithful with a little, then, if you're faithful with a little, you'll be entrusted with more. I don't know whether that mentality applies to even farming, like trying out in small spaces, and even before we go big. Could that be sort of an introduction of a culture change in regards to how we process agriculture and even agribusiness in this country?
I think now, as you've mentioned, especially now towards the young folks, is that we need to have that transition of this mind that you can only start big. You can only start big. That is what is in most of us young people. You think that you see someone who's driving a big car or having a big lunch or doing some huge farming, you think that I can also do that. But that is not the case. Actually, what we should do as young farmers is that and I think there is no other business, because of course farming is a business nowadays. There's no other business that can give you room to start small compared to agriculture. I think agriculture is the best business sector that can give you that room whereby you can start small. Like for example, if you talk about this spinach, you see it's like a transition. Like you start a small kitchen garden, you get people buying your product, and over time, because of what you've mentioned about the organic nature of these vegetables, so people will now be spreading that, hey, so and so is producing organic vegetables. So what is happening by that? So it means more people are coming to get your product. And again, now from your end, you also need to expand your production. So you see now over time, you get yourself, you are even supplying maybe a whole community or a place. So you need more products for the same. So it means that agriculture is the best agribusiness sector that can give you that room for you to expand or to start small as you proceed. Because you can start this vegetable supply. Next time, of course, carrot capsicum is also a form of vegetable. And now from this, you can also transit to the greenhouse farming. Of course, we have other farming sectors or farming areas that are not exhausted. So it's a wide.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. And even nutrition-wise, because recently there was the release of the Global Hunger Index in this country, and close to 34-35% of the country is undernutrition.
True.
So essentially the foods that we're eating as a nation, 3 to 4 out of 10 Kenyans are not having proper intake or calorific intake that they should have on average. That, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. So if you are not healthy, also is a big issue.
True.
In terms of having outfits such as kitchen gardening and the diversity that it gives to and brings to your plate, talk to me about how that marries into household nutrition in this country.
You see now, Noah, like you mentioned, when you talk about things that are produced basically in a kitchen garden, actually they are the things that are missing on the plate when you talk about the diet perspective. Because now for you, if you check on this kitchen garden, like our case here, so we have vegetables. When you talk about vegetables, this is one of the essential diet that actually for you to be nutritional safe, you're supposed not to miss. If you check on our kitchen garden, you can also be able to even produce fruits. It's very also essential in terms of nutrition.
Yes.
So the fact that these kitchen garden is giving you a wide variety of selection of different crops now to suit your nutritional requirement. It means that it's one of the things that should be taken serious and into place for you to safeguard the nutrition.
Definitely, very, very important. And as we close up this conversation about kitchen gardening and many other issues attached to kitchen gardening, I mean, for the future, because we see, for example, look at Kiambu County, which is one of the, it has one of the best soils in the country in terms of agricultural soil. And Kenya, I mean, a small percentage of our land is arable. So we really have to maximize on the spaces that we have that are productive. But we are having this infestation, they call it the concrete jungle that is taking over. So we are converting such spaces into real estate. I mean, as a farmer, as an agriculturalist, as a consultant in this field, does that concern you heavily in regards to where we are heading as a nation in terms of food productivity, or do you see now a shift into large-scale production and mega industrialist players in the farming ecosystem that now are coming big, and such outfits are no longer necessary?
I think honestly, no, that one hates me greatly, because now, like you mentioned, of course here we are in Kiambu, and from the small space that you can see we are in, everywhere else you see buildings, huge buildings, of course, being erected every day. And that one gives me an oversight of how the future may be if we are not able to take care of that. Because if, in as much as we are doing the small kitchen garden here, of course there will be a time, and there are two things that are happening. The population is increasing. People are increasing day in, day out. So, and it means that we also need to have food enough for this generation that is coming. And like you've mentioned about Kiambu, of course, the soil is very good for production. But what is mostly happening there is what you've mentioned about the concrete nature of the buildings, that is. So that one now means that there will be a time, even as we are trying to address food shortages in Kenya, it means that it is like we are addressing an issue as we expand it. Because now, I usually reason this way. In as much as there is development, everything is coming up, there is so many improvement in terms of the new inventions in different levels, also to talk about agriculture. But I don't see if we shall come to a point where you can be able to print a piece of vegetable, a piece of spinach from a printer. I don't think so. There's no way we shall be able now to come up with ways that we can be able to have a machine that is producing tomatoes. I think definitely that will not happen. And the most important thing is to understand about agriculture is that for you to achieve something that is to be called from crop production, you have to get to the process of soil, or it is a process that needs over time. So it means that we are in quite a time that we need to address these issues of the food production, because like we've mentioned, if you check on how the population is rising and how we are, all these viable lands, we are using it on different areas like the construction, leaving not forgetting that over time we shall not have enough land now for the production. So I think that one is something that also need to be addressed, and it's a real crisis that is going to happen.
Definitely. Wow, Sam, this has been a good conversation. I think you mentioned whether we'll reach a point where tomatoes will be printed. Yeah, right now we are still at a level of chapati making machine. Yeah, a million chapos. Interesting, but I mean, right now we are seeing even lab-grown meat that is being touted as a future alternative to beef that we are used to from raising cows and whatnot. So we don't know. The future is quite a crazy one, trust you me, but let's see how that goes. But thank you very much for your time and involvement in the Farm Kenya product. We really appreciate you. And asante sana.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Saa mwenyewe Wow, that has been a beautiful conversation. First part, we've tackled the issues to do with colored capsicums, how to do it right. Secondly, we've tackled the issue of kitchen gardens and how it marries into the larger vision of food security in this particular nation. And that's where we'll put a full stop to today's Farm Kenya. My name is Nokip Kimboy. Until the next one.
Mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa kulima kuwa mshindi.